Welcome back to Never Famous. Please make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Today we are gonna get into the sanctuary city pandemic, the border pandemic, the immigration It's a pandemic. I don't know what to call it. That's a word I'm gonna go with, but it's a lot of immigration stuff going on in America right now. We're gonna just address a few of the stories around it.
This is a weird one for me to talk about because it makes me look at two sides. One, I'm an immigrant, so that kind of puts me in a perspective of like, I know what it feels to come here from another country, but then looking at a lot of the shit that's happening, damn, I could see somebody who's from here. I'm like, how are you letting this shit happen in the way that it's happening? So it puts me in a very, very weird place. But we can start with some of the shit that the mayor of
Mayor Adams, New York
New
City.
York has been saying, and then we'll go from there.
We're seeing the erosion of the quality of life that we've improved on in such a short period of time of this administration.
Just low.
And we have been impacted. For many months, we were able to keep the visualization of this crisis from hitting our streets, but we have reached a breaking point. We're no longer able to do that.
So I'm gonna see. I don't know if you noticed the words he said.
Yeah, but what in particular are you referencing?
He said we've been able to keep the visualization of this crisis from hitting the streets. So it's almost like we've been trying to hide this shit that's been happening from regular New York citizens as much as possible. But now it's getting to the point where we cannot do it.
I don't think it's from New York citizens. I think it's from the rest of the country. But I think that if like in New York citizens, it's very apparent to them.
To do that because of the volume in numbers. Just last week, we had 3,900 people that arrived here. We are averaging anywhere from 2,500 to close to 4,000 a week. And if you do the math, you see that's 8,000 every.
What I'm like, yo, 4,000 like people a day. I'm like, it's a lot, but it's a little because when you figure New York has, I think it's over like 11, 12 million people. But when you're talking about 4,000 people, he said a week. I think he said 4,000 people. You talking about that? That's a lot of people. Like where you gotta feed them, clothe them, give them somewhere to stay. That if these people don't automatically,
but why do you have to do that? Like that's the
because
part.
they offered themselves as a sanctuary city. Them, Chicago, LA. There's a few cities that offered themselves as sanctuary cities.
But if you're a sanctuary, doesn't mean. You see, I thought it meant we want to deport you if you're working or some shit. It doesn't mean that we got to give you housing, money, clothing, and shit. Like, because from my mind, this is the part that's very, very awkward. And I'll play a video right after of, because even when I came and as an immigrant, and now granted, I didn't come through the border. I came on a plane and shit, so it's not the same.
Significantly different.
Yeah,
very
like
different.
when you come in and you get in legally, it's different. You know what I mean? But even as an immigrant who came in legally, in my mind and the way my mom and my parents, like some of the stuff that they instilled on me and has stuck with me till this moment was, we don't take shit from the government. And what I mean, we don't take shit, I don't mean we don't take shit like them overpowering you. I mean, you don't take shit like you don't take food stamps. You don't, like, you came here to work, you came here to make your own money, and you came here to pursue the American dream. So we do not play the game of trying to get food stamps, free rent, like none of that shit. Like that was something that was just instilled in me since I can remember. You know what I mean? And like, so it's very, very interesting to see how things have changed and how some of the people that are now coming in and not only not only migrating, but also coming in illegally, are coming in demanding shit. And I'm like, I can get like me as a citizen and people who have never left America see it. How can somebody from the outside come in and start demanding for stuff that even many citizens here don't have access to and don't have the ability? Because right now, the way you've been housing, if you tell me you have the ability to house 4,000 people a week or a month or something like that,
I think it was a week.
A week? You're telling me you could have been housing every homeless person in New York if you wanted to.
And in a few of the other cities.
With the same exact scenario. No, I'm only using New York because we're talking about him right now.
Yeah.
You telling me that if you would you figured out a way to house 2,000 to 4,000 people a week in a very short period of time, you could have addressed housing most of the homeless population of New York by now.
2 weeks, potentially 16,000 a month that we must feed, clothe, house, educate children, and all the services that you would give a normal adult. And we're seeing that play out on our streets of New York. And that is what the breaking point looks like, what we are experiencing right now.
The one thing I am gonna say, because something else that I know he says, and I'll include that video in the edit, was he's saying, "Don't come to me and don't complain to me." He's telling New York citizens to go and pretty much complain to Biden. Like he's putting it on the he's passing the ball to Biden.
To come together and deal with this fight. We are on the same page. There is a reason they call me the Biden of Brooklyn.
A few moments later.
We are, as Americans, is to go to our center of government and raise our voices when we believe government is not responding accordingly. So I'm not pushing this off on New Yorkers. I'm saying to New Yorkers, you're angry and I'm angry. And the source of our discontent lies in Washington, D.C. It baffles me. New York City is the economic engine of the state and the country. And I don't have the answer. Cities should not be handling national problems.
If, as a New Yorker, and you're like the buck, when it comes to New York, the buck stops with you. And if you became a sanctuary city or something, then do some of the shit that people from Texas are doing, where the government made it illegal to come into the state illegally, so that they can then enforce laws within the state to be able to address the situation in some way. Then you can do the same thing for New York City. You can do new regulations, new laws, or something that kind of changes that. But then I get it. Then that pushes you away from that progressive mindset of we need to be open to everyone. But then when you're open to everyone, you find yourself in this types of situation. And now you're finally feeling the repercussions of what I'm guessing states like Texas, maybe Arizona, any of the border states might have been saying for years now, since they've been dealing with this, given to the fact that they're right next to the border the whole time.
But the difference is, I just wanted to look this up. The Texas doesn't have any sanctuary cities. Like even that's why it was a lot easier for them to pass that law. Like a border state is New Mexico. Is the only state in California are the only two states that are bordered to Mexico that have sanctuary cities. I don't.
But that means for you to be a sanctuary city, that means you have to have certain laws that declare you as a sanctuary city. That means that I'm guessing police cannot ask you for documentation or something like that. I'm guessing that's what makes you a sanctuary. But what I'm gonna I'm gonna play a video, and this is from an immigrant. This is in Spanish. I'm gonna include a version of this thing translated by AI, so it may look a little choppy. But I want us to react to the Spanish version of this. This is an immigrant from Venezuela, and this is how he's talking about.
Are you gonna play the English version?
I'm gonna play the Spanish version.
Oh.
I'll put the English version of the edit too, so you guys can watch both. We're gonna react to the Spanish version because his tone of voice plays a huge role into what he said.
Debatiendo fuertemente con un agente migratorio, uno de los personajes que nos ayudan en el albergue, ya que bueno, ya ustedes saben que Papá Biden tiene vuelos totalmente gratuitos para...
Bro.
Yo.
Bro.
The second I saw that shit, when you hear an immigrant from another country calling him Daddy Biden, you know what I'm saying? He let us in. He gonna send us to the right city, this and that. And now, go ahead.
He's legit saying Daddy Biden has free flights for us as soon as we get here. Like, this is the mindset of an immigrant. Like, yo, they're more entitled than me, and I'm a citizen. Like, just listening to him talk, and I've only listened to like 10 seconds. He's more entitled than me, and I'm a citizen. Like, how the hell you get so emboldened? Like, I remember, because I've known people who have been here illegally.
What do you mean? How do you get so emboldened?
But like, but what I mean is, like, before, like, people who were here illegally, like, they
were getting deported,
and not just getting deported, but they were like tiptoe around, and they were like, oh, I don't want nothing to do with police.
Why?
They will never try to say shit. You know what I mean? They will
why?
Stay out the way.
Why was that? Why was it that the case? Think about everybody pre the Biden administration that you've known that was here that got deported. I know people that got deported for things that are like, you might only go to jail for like a year. Like you might have 2 DUIs or some shit. Your ass was deported. Like if you were really messing up, like any kind of thing like even a DUI, you were getting deported type shit. Now it's like, I know people, I've met people that was like, oh yeah, this is like my 3rd time here. I done got deported twice already. I done committed this crime, that crime. They've gone to jail here, been deported, and come back, and they're just out chilling regular. It's like they grabbed them again. The government knows they're here, and it's like, all right, cool. Like, What do you mean? That's the problem.
Yo, this is crazy.
This is why there's a caravan of over 6,000 people coming from Mexico, and it's a combination of all of people from a bunch of different countries. Which I'm not. America was built on immigrants. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be immigrants, but like you said at the beginning of this video, there's a proper way to do things and process things. Like I've been living in Philly my whole life. When I like in Philly in the early 2000s, Southwest, it was ugly. This shit was all bunch of broken down, beaten up houses. And today it's like now it's worse because it's the city has, you see the like influx of money, and a lot of these places are starting to get cleaner, but then there's all these homeless people. They're like, even when Philly was was one of the worst cities in America in terms of economy, there wasn't this many homeless people outside. Like there has to be like a, where are all these people coming from? Like I'm just seeing like people
But it's
sleeping
not
all over the
this.
street. I
It's not the
think this has a
migrants.
play. I think this does play into it though.
I think it's more the drugs and fucking, like, I think that plays a role, like a massive role in the homelessness. But because now we have a whole other issue to address, that doesn't allow you to put resources to your people from here, which I get it.
That's what I'm saying.
Para los migrantes hacia el lugar donde tal vez lo reciban, o donde consigan chamba, pues, y puedan quedarse. Ah, no. Este me quería mandar que en un autobús. Y son como 20.000 horas. Y en avioncito uno lo hace real, 3 horitas. Que era mucha carga para el Estado.
He's too good to go in a bus. So they found him work, and they're gonna transport him to the city where he's going supposed to be on a bus. He's like, I'm too good to be on a bus. I cannot be on a bus for, he said, 20,000 hours. When on a plane is a quick 3 hours.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I'm fucked up. They tell me, yo, you get on this bus for 20 hours and we're gonna give you somewhere to live, somewhere to work. We're gonna get all the things that you need to, like the essential things in life that you need.
Bro, like you came through fucking all of the Mexico. If you came from Venezuela, probably came through the Darien, that jungle piece that a bunch of people die. You telling me you lived through all that and now you're gonna complain that they're gonna transport you in a bus? The sense of entitlement that you have being here for a few days is like, how do you develop that so quickly? How do you develop that coming from coming from a communist country, which is pretty much what Venezuela has become? How do you develop this sense of entitlement so fast?
Because they have a level of expectation that's set by all the people that have been coming here for the past year and a half. Like since they opened the border, all the people that have been coming in and all the things that they've been given the immigrants, I think it just gave them a certain level of expectations and just things that they thought they were gonna get when they got here.
It's fucking crazy, bro.
Bla, bla, bla. Cuando verdaderamente él sencillamente es un empleado. Y él tiene que darme mi vuelo. Porque así
Can you pause this? I'm sorry. Because they don't have, like he said, they have to give him his flight. What they have to do is give you your flight back to fuck home. That's what they need to do. Like I'm sorry, and I'm a child of an immigrant, and like I get it. I'm not. I again, there's nothing wrong with you being an immigrant and going to another country. I could see myself living in another country one day, and that would make me an immigrant of that country. But I have to do the proper process correctly. You gotta pay taxes. You gotta do X, Y, Z. You gotta do like the proper things. You can't just be. I can't just go somewhere and expect shit to just be like given to, oh, cause I'm me. Like
Yo, like you haven't participated in the economy and you already want to start taking away from it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you take it, you want a crib, you want a job, you want a flight, all this shit that you want. You don't got no credit here. We don't know if you good or not. What like when you just like, so now we just give it, like when you ever just like give money to a random person that was like, yo, somebody, if I just walk up to you random like, yo, can I have $20? Can I borrow $20? Like, yo, who the fuck are you? I don't know you. Why would I just assume you're gonna pay me my $20 back? I don't know who you are.
lo estipula lo que es la ley. Tiene que darme mi vuelo para yo poder salir de New York y dirigirme hacia la ciudad donde voy a trabajar. Unas cosas que si tú te ahuevoneas, te pierdes tal vez del beneficio y te ponen a pasar ronche, señores. Salud.
So to me, this is because it's interesting because you're not only emboldened to one ask for this, but now you're making a video as a way to tell other people, yo, like other people that are in the same situation, like you should be asking to this, this is the expectation, like asking for a flight. And I guess we're talking about the flight, but everything else that comes with it, like you're entitled in your mind, you're acting like you're entitled to have all of this just by showing up.
Is that is that because like these people like are coming here? They don't have any like patriotism to America. They're like, I think that's what it is. Like
I feel like our own people don't, like people from America, and don't have any patriotism for America right now. Like right now, like there's a lot of, especially younger people. Like I don't know how somebody my age, like, and I'm a millennial and below, I feel like right now most of the people I see are like very non-patriotic, and they're almost are demonizing America, which is crazy to me. Once again, as an immigrant, there's stuff that people will say about America that when I hear it makes my skin crawl and be like, how the fuck can you be saying this? Have you ever been anywhere else and you're complaining about the fact that you have freedom and you have the ability to like grow and become something? Like some of the stuff I hear about America, like sometimes it doesn't, like when I hear from an American, it's hard for me to compute in my brain.
I think a lot of times they have been other places. They just never lived there. Because you think if you go vacation in a place for 2, 3, 4 days, it's so different than you living there for years on years of your life. And sometimes I think we don't realize how great of a country we live in. Like this is like not for nothing. Like a lot of my childhood, I mean I was a kid, but I didn't have the patriotism that I have today. I'm like yo, this is literally like the best country in the world. Like I wouldn't want to live like realistically. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Type shit. Like it just yes, it has its problems. There's certain things that need to change and get better for like day to day shit. But this is probably the best country in the world.
I think it is.
Like I don't know. I think we need to have more patriotism. We need to like if we want this country to get better, it starts with us. Like we gotta. The way that you carry your house is like it's what matters. Like when you don't leave a whole bunch of snow outside of your house or leaves or stuff like that. Like you clean it up. Like you paint
You
your
know what?
house. You do the.
I changed my mind. I think the sense of entitlement this guy came and has is because of us. And I think many of us have a weird sense of entitlement in America, that we deserve this and we should have this and we need to have this. And it is my right to have, like, I graduated, I should be making $150,000. Why am I not doing this? Like, it's because of us, and we have exported into other countries through our media and our social media and a lot of the comments and a lot of the shit people put on Twitter. It's a lot of people complaining about America and demanding shit from America and telling the government should be doing this, the government should be giving me this, and it's created that. Somebody comes from the outside into it, and they're like, oh, this is what it should be normal. I need to demand this from the government, and I'm entitled to this by just showing up. This is what participation trophies look like. Somebody from the outside who hasn't participated wants a trophy too.
That's I blame that on what's his name FDR. FDR is the president that made food stamps and all that shit, like all the government assistance programs. If I'm not mistaken, that didn't exist prior to him. I believe it was FDR. For after that is I think is when this started to happen. Now it's like so many generations forward, and they just keeps rolling over. Where it's like if you come to America, you don't got shit. They'll give you shit type shit. Like they'll help you. Like there's literally help for everything for
But
food
I don't
stamps,
think
for
that's
rent, for
not.
this,
I
for that.
disagree, bro. Because I'm telling you, like I came here in 2001, two, and even in that time, so like just over 20 years ago, people weren't coming and trying to be entitled. Like I'm telling you, like the stuff my
But you're talking
mom
about
said.
immigrants.
As an immigrant, yeah.
Well, now that's different because you're saying that the media and all this because now you're talking about early 2000s. So the media and all this stuff at that time wasn't what it is today. So it wasn't pushed out the way that it is. So whenever like Dominicans from here spoke to Dominicans back home, and if it's like, oh, now we working hard, we doing this or whatever. So then they kind of got a certain mindset. But what they did see, I'm gonna speak on Dominicans because I'm Dominicans, what I know a little bit of. When Dominicans from here went back to DR early 2000s, pre-social media and all that shit, and they went back flaunting and all this other shit, the people that were in DR was like, oh, we got to go to America to go work and get money, even though they didn't know that those people were busting their ass working here sometimes, but they was going back to flaunt it. So I think it's the same thing. You get what
I
I'm
guess
saying?
so.
Like they on social media.
I don't know, bro. Like to me, this makes no sense. You're coming from Venezuela, out of all places. Like, and if you just look at videos of what Venezuela is like right now, like just the fact that you made it in, you should be glad and happy, and not like I just to me it's just this is creates an element of sadness, and then because what it's going to do, this is definitely going to make it harder for people that want to come in and do shit the right way, come in legally and do the thing that the way they should be. Harder for them to do it. And right now, yeah, Biden is in that White House. When there's a flip and now there's a Republican government, that's probably when we're going to see a huge change. What they're going to do is they're going to shut everything down because there's going to be an influx of people, of way too many migrants in all at once. So then they're going to need to let things level off in some way. So those that could have gotten in legally in some way, the amount of that, I can see it decreasing massively. Because remember, there's always a pendulum. Like what goes one way comes back the other way just
Yeah.
as hard.
Just to wrap this up real quick, I do want to ask you a question. What do you think about like how much of the labor force, it being like immigrants helps the economy though? Like I heard this conversation where like when there's a lot more immigrants working, they can work lower wages as opposed to people a lot of union jobs and stuff like that.
Well, that creates two dilemmas because for me, like I hear it now, they can work lower wages. So the owners of set companies and the larger corporations are saving money on on the salaries that they're paying out.
Yeah.
But that also means that there's less Americans working because now those jobs that potentially would have been held by an American, they are now not being held by them, and having Americans might have forced that industry to elevate their minimum wage in some way.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that's not happening. So it creates to me in this instance a weird catch 22. It's like, yeah, you're saving here, but like it goes to the basic of, are you truly making the rich richer and the poorer poorer? I don't know. I don't know. Like to me, it's just
No, I should have finished my full statement, but they were saying like that's what's driven up the cost of things as well. It's like a lot more unions and like what is it like Ford or whatever, like they formed a union or they came to a new union agreement. I mean that was significant raises for almost everybody. So now we're gonna pay it an extra, I think 2 to 5 extra thousand per car or something like that. So stuff like that.
I get it. I understand that. So it kind of depends either way. But right now, you cannot tell me the economy is up because of migrants right now. This past 2, 3 years, the economy has gone to shit.
And there's more migrants.
And we cannot put that shit on the migrants. Like it's
Yeah.
been like, yeah, we have the repercussions of COVID, but then all the other shit that we've done that have impacted the economy, let's not try to cover that shit up and put it all into this issue because that ain't it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna keep talking immigration. I'm gonna do some more research, get some more knowledge on this topic, this conversation, because it's something that genuinely really interests me. And in the way that it's affecting our country. So I'm interested in seeing how this is gonna how it's gonna keep going forward. We see Biden rebuilding or continue to rebuild Trump's wall, or not rebuild but add to the wall, which he initially said he wasn't gonna do. So I guess we'll see what happens. Please make sure to hit the like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know how you guys feel about this whole immigration this process, and how do you guys see its effects? If is it affecting you at all? I'm very interested to know how it's affecting other people day to day in different parts of the country and stuff like that. So yeah, this is Never Famous.
Arguing intensely with an immigration agent, one of the folks who aid us at the shelter. Well, you already know that Father Biden offers completely free flights for migrants to wherever they might be accepted, where they secure a job and can remain there, however. He wanted to send me here by bus, and it is about 20,000 hours, and one can make it on a small plane, really. 3 hours, which was a large burden for the state, etc., etc., when in truth he is simply an employee, and he has to provide my flight because that's what it stipulates. The law requires him to give me my flight so that I can depart New York and head towards the city where I'm going to work. There are things that if you hesitate, maybe you miss out on the benefit and they make you suffer from intimidation.